Imagine walking into a pristine luxury boutique, its marble floors gleaming under soft spotlights, curated perfume scents drifting over polished displays of designer handbags and couture scarves, and slipping instantly into the persona of someone who belongs, only to be met with silence. This is the world of Angela Reid, a high-flying tech executive whose name is whispered among industry leaders, whose stature owns rooms, whose sophistication is more than a veneer, it's her life. She strides confidently into Maison Ravello, an opulent flagship store on Fifth Avenue, and anticipates nothing less than a warm welcome, courteous help, and perhaps a glass of champagne while she browses. Instead, she's met with cold austerity. No greeting, no approach, not even a nod. She drifts from shelf to shelf, trailing her fingers across supple leather textures, pausing over a quilted handbag that gleams like liquid cashmere, but remains without assistance. She tries a pair of impeccable black pumps, luxury tier, sky-high stiletto, and there's no suggestion of size, fit, color preference, nothing. Angela's pulse flutters somewhere between bemusement and chagrin. On and on she wanders, like a ghost in a temple of design. Meanwhile, store associates bustle around a white couple entering right behind her, offering champagne, stationery pads, complimentary silk scarves. The contrast is dizzying. Angela steadies herself and requests a scarf in her daughter's favorite shade of gold. The associate looks her up and down and says in clipped tones, "I'm sorry, we're sold out of that style." A polite lie. Angela glances at the elegantly attired white customer, handing over a box of scarves in every shade, and politely asks again. The associate sighs, gives her a box of off-white silks with a bored scowl and quickly turns away. The couple is offered fitting room help for 10 bags. Angela is offered no help. She stands quietly, a silent revolution in stature. When she turns toward the register with one of the off-white scarves, the cashier barely makes eye contact, scans the item and hands her the receipt. No gift wrap. No bag. The luxury experience never materializes. She walks out with a scarf thrown over her arm, emptier than she arrived. Angela stands in the cool air outside and breathes. The city rushes by. Was she invisible? A mistake? She steadies herself. A woman of executives don't stand to be ignored, especially not in their own city, their own neighborhood, their own status. So she steps back inside. She strides past the automatic doors with a deliberate grace. Heads turn, but not of recognition, of slight surprise. She stands at the register again. Takes a breath. Orders another scarf, bright fuchsia, her power color. The cashier registers it, but no bag, no wrap, no plate, no suggestion to browse further. She nods at Angela simply. Angela slides her credit card across. It's a sleek, black titanium card, American Express Centurion, an invitation-only emblem of affluence and panache. The card lands on the counter like a gauntlet dropped. Suddenly the staff shifts. The couple in front is politely asked what time they'd like to return to the lounge. Angela is addressed as "ma'am," offered a premium bag, gift-wrapped items, champagne poured into flute glasses. The associate who ignored her now hovers nearby, reciting details, ownership options, care instructions. She offers to pull matching accessories. Angela glances at the black card, its weight cold metal in her hand, then looks up. Her calm gaze meets the associate's eyes. The associate hesitates, smiles, then nods. Angela lifts the black card again. A performance of quiet power. The staff leans in, awaits her word. Champagne is poured, compliments exchanged. This is luxury at its peak. But luxury is more than a transaction. It's an affirmation. Angela knows she's being courted now because of the card, not her credentials as a successful black woman. And she knows exactly what she's doing. She runs a finger along the couture scarf offered as a gift. The staff expect praise. Instead, she smiles politely and says, "Thank you. Did you see me before this?" She lets that sink in. The shop falls silent. The once warm staff instantly cool as realization hits. Heads hold their collective breath. Her footfalls echo in the boutique now. The audience shifts. Her black card stays on the counter, a symbol not just of money, but of what society equates as belonging. And in that shimmer of silk and glass, Angela begins to narrate the scene. How in luxury retail, black skin can render wealth invisible until validated by an expensive card, a privilege that heightens bias. She quietly names the injustice by example, without raising her voice, but with penetrating clarity. The staff are leaning forward, waiting. She pauses, sips champagne slowly, then says, "Let's rewind." She slides the black card back into her purse. The staff relax, smiles wilt. The automatic doors are poised to reopen. She looks around the store, rows of designer merchandise, mirrors reflecting their uncertain expressions. She places the scarf gently on the counter, her credit card remains in her purse. She says in a tone that echoes, "Perhaps you can treat me like a customer from the start," and turns on her heels. As she walks out, there's a rip in the air, an unspoken question hanging. Will they reconsider how they greet the next person regardless of card, or just wait for the next black card to step through the door? As Angela leaves, a luxury retail blogger who's been filming discreetly steps forward, microphone in hand, and begins to confront the manager about what just happened. Will media exposure pressure the store into accountability, or will they spin and retreat? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. The store went still the moment the matte black titanium card hit the counter. Not just still in sound but still in energy, like the air held its breath. The sales associate who'd all but dismissed Angela moments ago stood stunned, as if the sleek rectangle between them had upended everything she assumed. Because it had. The American Express Centurion card, famously known as the Black Card, wasn't just a method of payment, it was a cultural symbol. It whispered wealth, exclusivity, status, and power. Most importantly, it told the world that the person holding it was not to be ignored. And that was exactly the message Angela Reid was now broadcasting, loud and clear, without raising her voice. A rush of movement followed. The manager, previously nowhere to be found, appeared from the back office with a nervous smile. The associate's stiff posture melted into subservience. "Would you like to see our private collection, ma'am?" she asked, her voice suddenly syrupy sweet. Another employee, one who had brushed past Angela earlier without even eye contact, returned with a tray of high-end accessories, just in case she was interested. The room had transformed, not physically but spiritually. Angela was no longer invisible. She was now a VIP, a guest of high regard, a woman who could spend 5 or even 6 figures without blinking. But nothing about Angela had changed, only their perception of her had. "Would you like some champagne?" the manager offered, gesturing to the in-store bar as though she'd offered royalty a throne. Angela gave a curt nod, then glanced at the mirrored ceiling reflecting the sudden flurry of attention around her. In one moment she had gone from overlooked to overserved. It was theatrical. And Angela knew it. She was led into the boutique's exclusive lounge, a space she had once passed by in curiosity. Now, plush velvet chairs awaited her, and a hand-picked selection of rare handbags was brought out without her asking. Every employee suddenly had something helpful to say. They offered opinions. They offered options. They offered apologies without using the word, sorry. Angela accepted the champagne but not the performance. She sipped slowly, eyes taking in every insincere grin. It reminded her of an experience she'd read about, when a young black man named Tryon Christian was profiled and detained after buying a belt at Barney's New York with his debit card in 2013. That case had rocked the luxury retail world. Barney's settled for $525,000 and was publicly shamed. Back then they claimed it was a misunderstanding. Angela remembered thinking then, what they misunderstand is who we are. She wondered how many people like her had to carry a luxury brand, on a card, a belt, or a bag, just to be seen. "Would you like to pre-order from our exclusive spring line, Ms. Reid?" the manager now asked with earnest eyes. She had checked the name on the card. Angela smiled softly, but her expression didn't match the warmth she received. "You didn't even ask my name before," she said. The comment landed heavily. She surveyed the items laid before her. Bags priced like mortgages, scarves woven with stories, shoes waiting for steps they deemed worthy. The same items she'd touched earlier, unacknowledged. It wasn't the product that had changed, it was their assumption about her proximity to power. Angela didn't speak right away. She let them bask in their discomfort, in the quiet realization of how transactional their respect had become. "Let me ask you something," she said at last. "If I hadn't pulled this card out, would you have offered me anything at all?" The room was quiet. Not silent out of formality but silent out of shame. "I'm sorry if you felt," the associate began, but Angela raised a hand. "I don't want to be managed." I want to be acknowledged. From the start. Her voice was firm, not angry. Just undeniable. And then it happened. A voice from the other side of the store broke the tension. Excuse me, do you mind if I ask you a few questions? Angela turned to see a woman, mid-30s, glasses, press badge, holding a mic and a phone camera. I'm with ShopSpeak magazine, and I've been observing how you were treated before and after. The journalist's eyes flicked toward the black card. Would you be willing to speak on record about your experience? The manager froze. The associate gasped. Angela looked calmly at the journalist, then at the boutique staff, who now hovered in panic. I think it's time people knew what luxury really looks like, Angela said. The journalist nodded. I've been tracking stories like yours across major cities. You're not alone. Angela's fingers drummed on the armrest of the lounge chair. Then let's talk, she said, lifting her glass slightly. But not in this room. As the journalist begins recording outside the boutique, Angela's interview goes viral overnight, triggering public outrage and sparking an industry-wide debate on racial bias in luxury retail. But behind closed doors, the boutique's legal team prepares a statement and a threat. Will Angela's truth be amplified or silenced? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. As the journalist's video hit the web, it spread like wildfire. Within hours, Angela Reid's experience lit up social media under hashtags like #BlackCardMoment and #ShoppingWhileBlack. News outlets, CNN, Vogue Business, and The Guardian, picked up her story, highlighting how Black shoppers are frequently ignored or underserved in luxury retail. Analysts reminded audiences that though Black Americans hold increasing buying power, projected at $1.8 trillion by 2024, they still face negative treatment in stores at twice the rates of other groups. Overnight, Maison Ravello was thrust into the spotlight. Reporters stationed themselves outside the flagship, eager to capture reactions. The company responded with a brief, carefully worded press release. Their customer experience is critically important and they're looking into the matter. But internally, panic had set in. During a company-wide crisis meeting via video conference, Maison Ravello's marketing and in-store operations teams clashed. Some argued Angela's affluent status made this an isolated VIP relations issue. Others saw a deeper warning. If ignored again, word of mouth could run wild and seriously damage future sales. One senior leader forced silence, saying, "This isn't just one refund, it's company identity." Meanwhile, retailers around the world took action. Sephora, which had suffered backlash from public figures like SZA and Leslie Jones, announced sweeping reforms, reducing security presence, introducing staff greeter protocols, and doubling Black-owned brands. Barney's and Macy's, still digging out from previous racial profiling scandals, reaffirmed their zero-tolerance policies after multimillion-dollar settlements. Even Versace and Moschino were being sued and fined for similar patterns. Jean, the boutique's regional manager, received marching orders. Implement mandatory inclusivity training and revise store policy. She reached out to diversity consultancies who pointed to studies from the Kirwan Institute and Gallup showing that Black shoppers are more likely to feel unwelcome or followed. Back at the Fifth Avenue store, employees suddenly began to share their perspectives. A lead associate admitted to feeling caught off guard when Angela returned. She'd watched the video and realized her mistake. Another staffer, overheard in a back office, said they'd been told to watch certain customers. That comment circulated quickly. Suddenly, the boutique had more than just bad optics. It had evidence of institutional bias. Angela received multiple requests for interviews, some friendly, some aggressive. She accepted one with ShopSpeak magazine, where she recounted how wealth alone is insufficient if no one sees your presence. I had to prove status to receive basic kindness, she said. The piece ran prominently online. Maison Ravello's response intensified. They announced a plan to create a customer bill of rights, guaranteeing equal greeting and assistance. They launched a blind training pilot in a few flagship stores. Staff would wear no name tags and greet every guest. But internal memos, leaked to staff but not public, revealed that employees still feared backlash for approaching the wrong people. The atmosphere inside the store remained tense. As luxury analysts weighed in, they noted broader industry reckonings. Gallup data showed 22% of Black Americans report receiving less courtesy in stores, while Vogue Business and New Yorker articles detailed policy responses at Selfridges, Tiffany's, Sephora, and more. Vogue Business. Some companies were even appointing diversity boards, mandating annual audits, or pledging to enforce zero tolerance for profiling. But many still lacked clear metrics or accountability. Inside Maison Revello, Angela received a formal invitation to a roundtable discussion with senior management, union organizers, PR officials, and 3 other Black customers who had experienced similar snubs. The invitation promised an honest conversation, but Angela was wary. Brands often used optics to quiet dissent. She accepted, planning to speak about her lived reality, not just her Black card. The night before the roundtable, Angela saw a draft of their new greeting guide. Always greet with good eye contact, ask if you can help. Start. But another slide warned, target best customers first. She texted a friend, this still places power in stereotypes. She had drafted her own presentation, slides with quotes from Gallup, Kirwan, articles in Vogue Business about systemic invisibility, and legal fallout like the Barney's $525,000 settlement. She planned to ask one question. Will you guarantee that no Black customer will need to flash wealth to be seen? The next day, Angela enters the roundtable behind closed doors, but what she discovers shakes her faith. Executives pledge change in public, but she uncovers concealed sales data and scripting guidelines that reveal the customer bill of rights, omits any mention of race or accountability. Will she call them out, and risk being labeled difficult, or will she accept a botched apology for genuine progress? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. This part begins at the heart of Maison Revello's plush boardroom, where Angela's viral Black card reveal has forced their crisis response into high gear. Executives, legal counsel, and brand strategists surround a glossy table, tension palpable beneath the store's bespoke wallpaper. They've crafted the customer bill of rights and drafted a script for staff, a public show of brand reform. PR plans, policy language, and diversity training agendas line the pages in front of them. But behind the polished proposals, uncertainty spins. Did they truly change, or just check a box? Back in the Fifth Avenue boutique, staff barely conceal their unease. The regional manager, Jean, is pulled aside by an anxious associate. They want us to greet every guest equally, but what if you can't guess who's a high spender? Jean gulps. The employee shrugs. I mean, that's been our instinct, right? Another associate mumbles. I'm tired of being told I need unconscious bias training. What about common sense? These cracks quickly spread. One employee, one who served Angela post-Black card, admits to co-workers, I felt stupid for ignoring her before. A younger assistant shrugs back, welcome to enlightenment, I guess. These candid confessions land in closed-door HR briefings, sparking whispers of union involvement and formal pushback. This isn't just about customer service, it's existential. If greeting everyone risks offending someone, where is the luxury line between exclusivity and equality? Amid this unrest, media attention deepens. The next morning, ShopSpeak publishes their full interview with Angela, accompanied by data from Vogue Business and Gallup showing Black shoppers face twice the negative treatment in luxury stores. Industry insiders tweet, one viral moment can shift brand DNA, or burn it all down. Stories of Sephora's bias training and staff backlash. Glamour.com re-emerge. Headlines call out the luxury industry. Brands scramble after Black card video exposes systemic invisibility. Internal memos from Maison's competitors affirm they've begun similar blind greeting programs, but many employees question feasibility. Maison Revello CEO hosts a live Q&A on Instagram, endorsing the reforms but refusing to name Angela publicly, concerned about legal liability and brand image. Angela watches, rolling her eyes at the careful wording. We believe no customer should have to prove her worth. But no one asks the critical question. Will acknowledgement be enforced or just espoused? Inside the store, Angela returns, this time invited as an honorary guest advisor, during a training demonstration. The staff greet her warmly, apologetically, but some smiles feel rehearsed. During a mock greeting, a staffer asks her to repeat her name, Angela Reid, and recommends a scarf matching her outfit. She responds with gentle firmness, I appreciate the effort, but it shouldn't take becoming a VIP for me, or anyone else, to be greeted. The trainer asks her to role-play again as a normal shopper, but Angela points out the paradox. I've already walked through as a normal shopper. How do we learn from then? Her honesty draws applause from some trainees, but defensiveness from others. A senior associate angrily whispers, "What she doesn't get is how fragile our luxury image is. What if we alienate our core clients?" A younger colleague snaps back, "Maybe our definition of core is the problem." It's the evening of Maison Revello's quarterly sales review. As regional managers report, numbers are strong overall. Except in stores piloting the blind greeting protocol, sales there are down sharply. Executives nod, brows furrow. Angela, invited to observe, watches as the CFO hesitates and whispers to the CEO, "This initiative risks profit." The CEO turns pale. The room falls silent as a message flashes on his phone. The board is calling an emergency meeting. Will prestige win over principle, or will justice cost them luxury? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. Maison Revello's boardroom was frigid that afternoon as the emergency meeting began. On the glossy table, sales data, internal memos, and public backlash metrics. The declines in pilot stores using the blind greeting policy had become undeniable. Executives eyed the projections, flicking to Q4 forecasts where projected losses, if protocols continued, could affect yearly bonuses. The CEO cleared her throat, "We moved too fast. We misunderstood our market." Her voice shook. But Angela, seated at the end of the table, heard something deeper, a tension between prestige and principle. She reflected on moments where her voice had been overshadowed by polished apologies, management spin, and severed scripts. Now it came time for clarity. She stood, measured, authoritative. "You say you value every guest. Today's results show otherwise. You're backtracking not because profit matters, but because tradition binds your definition of luxury." Absolute silence greeted her. The CEO looked away, others shifted uncomfortably. Angela continued, "We aren't asking for charity. We're demanding consistency. You want to heal, but are you willing to change?" In that moment, executives realized, this was no longer a faceless scandal driven by a viral clip. This was a reckoning inside their walls. Public apology and brand accountability. That evening, Maison Revello released a public statement echoing Angela's words. "We deeply apologize to Ms. Reid and all customers who felt unseen. We are committed to holding ourselves to a higher standard and ensuring every guest is treated with dignity." They named the incident and acknowledged the disparity. The statement included concrete measures. Mandatory blind greeting protocol, with quarterly audits reviewed by an external ally. Customer Bill of Rights confirmed in public. Every guest receives greeting, assistance, and champagne regardless of race. Diversity and Inclusion Council, comprising Black executives, civil rights consultants, and frontline staff, with the power to enforce policy and recommend sanctions for noncompliance. Transparent performance metrics, posted quarterly, tracking greeting equity surveys and customer satisfaction by demographic. Like Sephora's 2019 commitment, shutting down 400-plus stores for training after the SZA incident, Maison Revello pledged ongoing training, not one-off sessions. They even announced board-level accountability. The D&I Council would host a semi-annual public report on progress. Employee and culture shift. Inside the Fifth Avenue boutique, staff met together. Jean, the regional manager, spoke frankly, "This isn't about offending prestige, it's about extending it. Our luxury must be rooted in respect." A lead associate, once resistant, stepped forward and said, "I've apologized to Angela. I'll lead by example." A younger hire added, "I'm proud to see change come from real voices, not marketing." Their sincerity gave weight to brand promises. Industry ripple effects. The story didn't end there. Vogue Business cited Maison Revello as a case study in luxury accountability. Saks Fifth Avenue's president even referenced the incident when apologizing to NBA GM Will Dawkins for a racial profiling encounter. Another sign that brands were finally recognizing their blind spots. Black enterprise. Analysts noted with cautious optimism that some firms now tied executive bonuses to inclusion metrics and equitable service scores. Angela's legacy. By spring, Maison Revello's quarterly reports showed an uptick in customer satisfaction across all demographics. Audits confirmed greeting equity in 98% of interactions, a huge leap from the pilot store's 65%. Champagne sales rose, especially among Black shoppers. Angela, invited back as a guest advisor, walked through the boutique one morning. Staff recognized her and smiled, no fanfare, just respect. She lingered at the entrance, observing a Black family greeted first, a Hispanic couple offered fitting room help, an older white woman offered assistance. Everyone equally acknowledged. Angela pressed her Black card into a vault in her purse and stepped out, triumphant, not because prestige had changed but because principle had. Privilege may command service, but dignity demands consistency. Luxury brands must move beyond optics to embed equity into every policy, greeting, and sale. True prestige is rooted in respect for every customer, not just the ones who prove they belong. When an empowered voice insists on accountability, with research, witness change, and transparent policy, the result isn't just good PR, it's a culture of inclusion. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths.